Is African American Music Appreciation Month, and today East Texans celebrated to commemorate its cultural and historical significance. As East Texas News Weekend's Christine Guevara reports, a local African American musical influence was honored as a part of the celebration.
African Americans spearheaded a lot of the great music that we hear today.
Under the Empowerment Community Development Corporation, the Texas African American Museum in Tyler put on a celebration today to appreciate the African American musical heritage.
So we're just so thankful that with the Texas African American Museum that we can recognize things like this and keep the history alive.
The celebration debuted the Arthur Dooley Wilson African American Music Month Award. Dooley Wilson was a well-known musician from Tyler. He is best known for his role in the award-winning movie Casablanca. The award was created to continue his legacy. And today, local musician DeMarcus Walker was honored as the first recipient.
How do you feel knowing you were the first to ever receive this award?
Overwhelmed, in tears. I literally couldn't collect myself.
Walker was born and raised in Tyler. He went on to play professionally and is now a recording artist and music educator. He spoke about the importance of music in his life.
Music was one of those factors that just helped me stay focused and just, through the ups and downs of life, music was just a way to express myself.
Mr. Walker has accomplished so much as a young man, and Mr. Walker is a fine individual to accept this first award because a lot is in common with him being such a young person and to what he is today.
Christine Guevara, East Texas News Weekend.
And to add to the celebration, the city of Tyler declares June 26th as DeMarcus Walker Day to remind East Texans about the importance and influence of African American music today.